Okay, so hi everybody. Tori Hartman here, and Ethony Dawn right there. And I am, every time I talk to you, I love you. So I just feel this kind of wonderful affinity with Ethony because of her truth. And one of the things I really have enjoyed over the years, and I'm introducing her, this is my introduction because it's about me. The introduction is really about watching Ethony go from someone who had started in the industry to really becoming an important force in this industry. And when I talk about industry, I'm talking about intuitive work. I'm talking about tarot. I'm talking about trusting our inner womanly energy. And for me, that's it. Of course, my dog now wants to move away and walk on everything. But for me, that's a huge part of who you are, and watching your journey, watching your struggles, watching you go through and tell your truth at every moment is something that I think we all have to learn from in that way. So I've asked Ethony to join me. We're going to do this little quick live together. And of course, Gavin has already upstaged us. The reason I wanted to do this, everyone, is because Ethony has the most fantastic tarot summer school. And she's done it for a few years. I'm going to let her tell you in a moment. But she always has people that I feel will enrich your intuitive skills, enrich your reading skills, different points of view, which I think are vital in tarot. I think that unlike somebody who's teaching an oracle deck, like I have an oracle deck, that's a very different animal. So with that, I want to introduce Ethony, and I'm going to ask you, start off with, tell me about the background on Tarot Summer School and how long you've been doing it.
Thank you so much for chatting again. I know it was so funny. The first thing I said to Tori was like, we're both in red and red. Like that was not intentional at all, but we're both wearing a very power color for today. So yeah, Tarot Summer School started when I opened my Tarot Readers Academy when I moved from Australia to Canada, because I had to move everything online, which was that was the tipping point in my business for sure. And then I had booked my tickets, my plane tickets, my hotel, and I purchased my ticket for Reader's Studio back in 2013, sorry, when I arrived, because it was one of my bucket list things I really wanted to do. And then I found out I was pregnant. And so then I was like, and I couldn't fly during that time when it came around. So I had to contact the Waldstones and say, I'm really sorry. I'm pregnant. I can't come. They won't, let me. I had a few difficulties I was a very monitored pregnancy because of the way that I was born. So I can't come. And I was like, oh my gosh, how many people would love to do these conferences? And I was in Australia, and I was in Perth, Western Australia, which is hours on a plane from anywhere, but simply can't get to it because of geography or family or money or time. And that's when I literally sat up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I was like, I've had an idea. Like it was one of those little lightning bolt moments. And I harassed all of my friends in the tarot community. I was like, do you want to come and do this with me? And it's now in its 4th year and so much fun. I look forward to it every year, sharing new people and exposing new teachers and new methods and points of view, and basically just having a summer long tarot party, oracle party, cartomancy party, magic party. So it's pretty great.
And so, let's go back to your first launch, when you launched and how much it's grown. Not only your obviously your Tarot Summer School, but start me with, the size of the groups to now. And also the other thing I want to underline is how you've watched tarot grow in the last 5 years. I'm getting truth bumps. Tell us about that. And then tell us about, I want to get into the teachers, some of your highlights. And then I want to talk about this year, who you've got and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it has gotten crazy. So from, I really should have written down, I probably have it somewhere, because at some point I was really monitoring my numbers, but then I sort of stopped because I was like, oh, I'm just going to not do that. I'm going to just let it be the thing. But I know for a fact that nearly every year we double in size. And in the Tarot Readers Academy Facebook group, we nearly have 20,000 members just in that group. And it was crazy to think that I started out with 160 people on my mailing list. We're like, I have 160 people. And that is so worth celebrating. Like that is absolutely worth celebrating. But it was just crazy to have this idea, for it to go so well, and then to have people immediately after it had finished say, are you doing this again next year? And I was like, you betcha I am. Like it was crazy how receptive everyone was, because we literally have people from all over the world who are able to access this amazing wisdom and everyone's magic and their light and their art, and for it to be not tied to a geography. And then to see tarot everywhere, like on the catwalk for Dior, in Prada, it's in Urban Outfitters, it's everywhere. You know, for the decks stocked in stores like The Growth. You go into Barnes and Noble now and they have a whole huge section. Before it was lucky if you could get like 4 or 5. So for that to be very in the cosmic goo of people's collective consciousness has become really, really cool to see. I've really enjoyed it.
And, you know, in general, like, so obviously you started the first year. Now, when people join, let's say they're joining this year for the first time, can they also purchase prior years? Have you done that, or how does that work?
They can't purchase prior years. I have had a lot of people ask, so it may be something that I can go back, because it's a collective, because there's more than one teacher. Everyone sort of needs to be on board for that to happen. But there are some courses that were available that are still on the academy that you can enroll, but they are separate. So there is the summer school offering, which bundles all 12 courses together, or you can pick a la carte if you're just interested in a couple, and then you can upgrade later if you like. But there are other standalone courses on the academy, depending on whether the teachers wanted to keep it there or put it on their site separately. So it's been a very open and fluid discussion with the collaborators that I've been working with. But yeah, we haven't kind of released old packages, but it might be something that we do in the future.
And you know, I'm asking also because I think it's fantastic, and I know that once you start getting into tarot, you become voracious, because you want to learn from everybody out there, and I think that's so vital. Like, I really, I can't even begin to tell you how important I think the work you're doing is, and I really, really want to support you in it. And before I ask you the next question, I'm going to let everybody know that one of the things you do that you don't talk about here, but we haven't brought up yet, is that it is a collaboration with the instructors and the teachers. And one of the things that Ethony does that I really have to say to all of you is that when you invest in the summer school and you buy all 12, the person who brought you in gets a slightly larger, like, little piece.
Yeah, referral fee, yeah.
Referral fee. But the thing that I think is so extraordinary is every single teacher makes money on it too. Yeah. So I was kind of stunned in the sense that the ability for these teachers, all of us, to make money and be sharing in the prosperity of this community is something that I think so many people aspire to, but they never set it up from the beginning that way. They say, oh, I'm going to do it someday. And I just want to say that if you're listening to this now, you know, this is something that Ethony has worked on from the beginning. And believe me, I don't know how she does it, but I just want to say you do it. And you have it all broken down into percentages and all this stuff. But I want to tell you that is a really important part, I feel. If you're interested, if you're thinking about joining her summer school, remember that the teachers you're going to are actually making money on it. So they're not like giving you crap. They're not like going, oh, I'm just going to do this, and it's just a conversation. And it's really good content, really interesting. You will find a gem from each one of them. And that's part of it, is that you know you're getting paid. So you're kind of like, oh, I guess I have to work a little harder on this. And so, I hate to be that honest with you, but
no. I'm like that too. Yeah. I'm like, I'm up against, like, you know, not like in a bad way.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I am very lucky to call many people that I work with friends like you. And I think like everyone who has ever come through Tarot Summer School, but I'm like, hot damn, you know, I'm up against all of my friends in regards to like keeping the quality at a place where we can all offer. I'm a Virgo rising, right? So like that's totally where that comes from. I'm Me like too. More.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think that's very important because, and I want to say this to everybody, you see, that makes a difference in that, let's face it, it's the old thing of like, do you want to go to work and kind of like get the same thing? Or do you want to go to work and go, I'm not only getting to present something that I know is outstanding, I get to put more time and effort into it because I know I'm being paid for it.
Yeah.
And, as much as people say, oh, you shouldn't be paid for doing this work, I want to address that with you really quick because I know
I've got a lot to say about that.
and I love when people go, well, you should ask for, and I'm like, you should ask for what you feel is your price. I mean, and yes, I charge a certain price, and so I might have less clients all the time, but I know that I can deliver at a level that I want to deliver. So just address that briefly, and then we'll talk a little bit about who you've got coming up this year.
So firstly, thank you for I guess I never thought about it when I set it up for everyone to be paid for that being anything but normal. So that's interesting because right from the get-go, even the courses that are up that are from other people like Avalon Cameron's courses, Kellyanne Maddox's courses that are still up, they get paid ongoing. So whenever you log in and you support any of these teachers, they always get paid. So I never even thought of that as something being like abnormal. I was just like, oh no, everyone's bringing their energy and their crew and their love and their magic and their time and energy are things you cannot get back. Like you can't get back your time. So I wanted to super honor that. And I'm a firm believer of collaboration, not competition. And that when we all rise together, we can make a difference together. Because I said this on the stage at Reader Studio. Imagine if the right people who had the heart of wanting to protect and be champions and take care of the planet and take care of people who are not, being represented and who have that soulful custodianship of money. Imagine if they had the money, right? The world would be a completely different place. And that's why I love it. I'm like, yes, get that money into the hands of the right people, because that's the language in which this world is kind of revolving around at the moment, for good or bad. But I totally believe that money and your relationship to money is absolutely connected to the relationship you have around your self-worth, which is why I've done my money magic manifestation cards, and I'm working on the workbook, one of the many projects I've got in the works.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you feel weird about accepting money or accepting compliments or accepting nurturing, loving things or pleasure or luxury, that is a huge flag for you to go, I have got something that the universe is asking me to work on. Because it's a total connection from what you value to money. Because if someone can go out and buy a $5,000 handbag and people don't throw as much shade on them as they will someone who works in our field charging $90 for a reading, there is a massive disconnect there.
It's so true. And I'm laughing because, it's the thing of what are you valuing, and I was just doing a radio interview, and the person said, and this, I am not kidding you, this was the question. They said, okay, so I see that you do a lot, in your new deck. I see you do a lot with manifesting, and as you do, manifesting and magnetizing, and I see that it's in there. What card do I need to pull to learn it?
And
all
of them?
And I said, that's like saying, and the best way for me to put it is that I really want to master this language, or I really want to master being a surgeon. Where do I buy the knives?
Yeah.
I think the thing is like, okay, so here's the thing. The answer really becomes, you have to invest. It's not just the money, like you said, the time investment in mastering it. And I've seen people get it, and you have too. I've seen people get it as quickly as 8 weeks, and I've seen people get it in 6 years. And, and sometimes it's 20 years. There's no time limit on when you'll get it, and there's no way to predict when you'll get it. Only you can predict it based on how much you're willing to apply yourself and invest. So that $90, how much is the full summer school when people pay for summer school?
It's $230 something, $229
okay,
for 12.
So it's about 230. However, that's 12 courses.
For lifetime access too.
And,
Lifetime access.
oh, lifetime access. So here's the deal with that too, is that you've got 12 courses. And one of the things I say to people a lot is, yeah, watch them all, right? And then find out who you are in 2 months and come back and watch some again. And you go, oh my gosh, I can't even believe did I miss that? Somebody actually asked me if I put up a different video. And I was like, no, same one, because they became so different. And so what I want to say to everybody is that and when we say investment, you know, it always sounds like you can be a millionaire. First, get $1 million. You know, like kind of like, you know,
totally.
it sounds so hokey, pashmokey, galokey or whatever. But the truth is that, you know, if you said to me, I want to get a degree, and I just said, oh, okay, here it is. It
means nothing.
It means nothing. And the thing is that we've worked for years applying ourselves to this. Now, that has nothing to do with whether or not we deserve money. It has everything to do with that we've applied ourselves to that. That's where our expertise is, and that's what we want to share. You would never go into a doctor and say, I know you spent years doing this and have expertise. Can you just quickly tell me what's wrong with my elbow? And the thing is that we expect that when it's because we devalue our own internal journey. And I think as we, you know, wind this up, I want to talk a little bit about that and then talk about what the courses are that people will get this year. But I want to say that when we talk about personal value, and if we applied it to every course that you see this year, you know, because one of the things I noticed in you is how much you absolutely have an incredible personal value. And the reason we know this is because every year your work gets stronger, you get more committed, you do more, and you offer more. And whether or not it takes the same amount of time or not, the thing that happens is that, yes, my father used to say this, yeah, sure, my job is to make it look easy, but that doesn't mean it is.
Oh my gosh, it's exhausting. Even my sister is like, I don't know how you were doing this on your own. I literally was a one-woman show up until 2 months ago.
Oh my God.
2 months ago. And then I finally made the decision. I was using some VAs and things like that. But then I finally decided to join forces with my sister. We're now like the Power Rangers, like joining forces to make it a bigger, better. And she's like, I don't know how you were doing this. I don't know how you would do it. So she doesn't do anything on the content side. That's all me. But she's helping me streamline procedures, do all the admin, do all the, you know, website, because she was my web person anyway. So doing all the back end stuff. So that's all her jam is that. And me, I'm all the content. So she's like, now I can be freed up to just finish the 4 decks I've got happening in the second I'm writing. And so that's where my thing comes from. But it's a lot of work. And anyone, and you know this, anyone who comes in to this, in the back of my mind, I'm always going, we make it maybe look easy, but I literally work weekends, nights. I have a son, as many of you know, but when he's with his father, we're not together. So I work on weekends. But I love it. I have been a member of this community since I was 15. It's just that, you know, 6 years ago I went online. But I've been slinging cards, obsessed with tarot for so long. I love it so hard. I spent all my money on it, and very happily so.
Me too.
Yeah, you know that it's all good. But it's absolutely. And just quickly before we do that, I just wanted to mention what's really important about having something that's collaborative, and why we always learn, and why we're always reading books. And many people who love this are such big learners. It's because every teacher will use a different language, and sometimes it's just finding the language that clicks.
Exactly.
And that's why it's like, I will never stop reading. I will never stop rereading. I'm going to reread 78 Degrees of Tarot because, you know, it's Rachel freaking Pollock. But it's just a huge amount of like being a constant student to the universe and bringing people together that I can learn from and you can learn from. So that's what makes me really excited. But I am very Hermione Granger in my build. So
well, and I want to just say too that when we talk about that and bringing that back to personal value, is that, you know, the amount of work you've put in, and you know, just to kind of know that you've done it well enough that you can just break open a little and let someone in to help you, even if it is your sister, you know. And that is such, it's such a challenge, and I know it is. So what I want to say is that every course you take, every single thing you invest in should be something that makes you a better person. You know, as you know, Ethony, my thing is really writing. I'm working on a new book. And one of the things that John Truby said, he was a screenwriter teacher, and I studied with him before he was famous. So that was kind of like, oh, you know him? Yeah, I do. So it was funny. But he said, write something that will change your life. And I think I feel that way as a writer. And what I want to say to everybody at this moment is invest in what you know will change your life. And if you are a little bit attracted to tarot, I think and even cartomancy, as you mentioned, all of that woo-woo stuff, that's all that magical part of you that, you know, we don't ever want to let go of. So I think that in rekindling it, I'm going to say, invest in something that will transform your life in the way you want. And I do believe it has to do with, as you said, listening to all these teachers. Because, you know, it's like any teacher, you know, I think I got everything going on, but, you know, I think that everybody else has things going on too that are so fantastic. And I can listen and learn every time.
Yeah.
So tell me now, how have you broken this up? You have 12 teachers. And how, obviously, you chose them by going, please, this year.
Hunting people down, lassoing them, dragging them back, or they're kicking and screaming. No, thankfully, everyone's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's been really exciting to be a part of. So how do you decide, you know, is there a method to your madness is what I'm saying? Do you put all the certain things together? How is your process so that if I'm buying it, for example, how do it know? How do you put it together?
So the first year was very much like whoever was willing and asking a lot of people everyone was like, I'm down.
Okay.
And then the second year I opened up applications from teachers. The third year was kind of like half and half because I had a lot of people like Alan Cameron came back, Vix came back, Benabel came back. And so then I was like, this year I really wanted to do a lot of people who had never done summer school before and invite new teachers in. And this year I was tapping on shoulders because it's gotten to the point where now, I mean, thankfully, I'm very lucky where people approach me. And then there were people that I really wanted to, like yourself, that I went and said, and Carrie Paris and lots of people that I said, please come. You know, I've been like Kelly Fitzgerald, who's a Truth and Story here on YouTube. I've asked her for 3 years and she's got a lot going on. But this year, like the stars aligned, you know, like last year with Kellyanne Maddox, again, I'd been like, come do this. And she's like, I'm really, really busy. But last year she could make it. So there were a lot of conversations that happen throughout the years behind the scenes where it just has to become where all the timing sort of fits in. And then it's like, I want to make sure everyone's offering something different. So there's a lot of conversations around what other people are doing, what their speciality is, what flavors we're looking for. So yeah, it's a ton of behind the scenes work, a ton of that happens all year.
And how did you figure out, like, you know, I know how I did it when I was doing the telesummits. How did you figure out which teacher's going first? Did you build it a certain way, or did you just go, these are the people energetically I want, or how did you? It's kind of,
I don't know. Sometimes it's actually a really little bit random because the only thing I knew is that I wanted to have Benabel asked to go first. Because that was a request that she put in. I was like, sure, honey, because I was going to go first. So Benabel wanted to go first. And I thought, okay, well then I will wrap it up. I will be the last cab off the rank. And that was only because it was like, I wanted to be the one to say bye, you know, kind of thing. Yeah. But no, it was really, you know, and it just worked out really well. Like you had your deck coming out, you know, which is out now, and congratulations. So that was really easy to put you quite early on. Carrie Paris has her Kickstarter deck going on at the moment and has a Milagro Oracle. So I wanted to put her early on. You know, Kelly Fitzgerald just released her tokens, her magic tokens. So it was very sort of, Liz Worth just had a book come out. So there was a lot of synchronicity, but it was a bit of pulling rabbits out of a hat and kind of going, okay, well, that'll work sort of thing. So
when are they broadcasting? How are you doing the broadcastings?
So every Monday there is a course released for 12 weeks. So it's meant to be that you can take a week to do the course, or, you know, whenever you've got time, because a lot of us are very busy. And every week there's it goes on out to my newsletter. It goes on to, there's a blog post about the course. I release it to the Tarry's Academy and on all of my socials. So it's just once a week we have the announcement that the new course is out, and then on Tuesday a blog post goes out, and then Wednesday everyone finds out about the blog post and the courses from my newsletter. So there's a lot. It's every week for 12 weeks is pretty much just sharing what you guys have all done.
Wow. So, okay. So just so everybody understands, like, and I know a lot of people don't, so I'm going to say this, the amount of work, and I know just from doing a course, the amount of work that goes into the repetition of a blog post and all of this over and over and over again, it's really just taking 12 shells and you're putting things in, but keeping the balls in the air is very tricky. And so basically I sign up with you, then I get a welcome, and then does it give me like links? Do the links open up each week? How can people expect to get, how do they, obviously I'm going to put a link here. Y'all will get the link at the end of the video on how to sign up to your course. I'm so excited, and I really want to encourage it before she answers, because I just ran right over you. Before she answers, I want to say, if you're at all interested in tarot, make this investment and do the 12, because that is less, I'm not kidding everybody, that is less than $25 a course. Like literally, I think it's something like $22.87 or so, it's ridiculous. And so you're going to get a massive amount of material, and especially if you want to dive into tarot, do it. So I'm just saying that. And now, do you have payment plans, or how does it work? Okay, how does that work? Tell us about it.
So everyone will get a notification. If you've enrolled in the course, the day the course goes live, you will get a notification saying, hey, guess what? It's live. Come and join, with links to how to access everything. So I've taken care of all the steps for that.
Yep.
And then, sorry, what was your second question?
I was asking if there are payment plans and how that works. So, right.
Yeah,
so you click the link on, at the end of this video, there's probably one also on here. The link to sign up will be on this video. And then they sign up. Then they're going to go to a what about page and how to pay. And so tell us about, also, I know this is silly, but payment plans make a big difference to people. So how does that work in your case? How are you doing it?
So there's one option where you just pay upfront once, and then there's a 2-month split cost. So if you need to, like, if you got, we've all got bills to pay, honey, I got a roof to put over my head too, so like I totally get it. There is a 2-month payment plan in available as well.
It's an incredible offer, everybody. And I really want to say, if you're into, and by the way, I got a chance to take Carrie Paris's token class. Is that what she's doing on this? Is she doing that?
She's doing charm casting.
That's it, the charm casting. Fan-freaking-tastic. Amazing. So when I say this to you, I mean, seriously, you would sit down and pay at least $200 for this course, because that's amazing. Carrie Paris, she has a wonderful ability to just bring difficult concepts home, like many people. But I want to say that Carrie Paris alone is worth that, because I took it at Reader Studio. Yeah. And Benabelle's fantastic, so there's no arguing that. And I think at the end of the day, just any one of these courses, just getting to, and here's the neat thing that, here I go, right? But I want to say this about what Ethony's doing, is that the neatest thing is you're going to get a taste of all these people.
Yeah.
And you're going to, not only are you going to learn something from each one of them, which you will, but the deal is that you may find someone whose language works for you. And you may go, you know what, I'm going to study more with Ethony. I'm going to study more with this person. And all of the teachers have ways to study with them, and you'll get to know that and their style. And by the way, it's the most minimal investment you will have to get into what all of these people are really offering.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Because it's not just like, here's a freebie, and it's kind of like, and then when you buy, it's like, no, you've bought, so you're getting something. So
totally.
And I think the individual courses are also available. How much are they again? How do they work?
They're $32. If you're just going to take that course, they're $32. Or if you want to take a couple,
Okay. So,
Yeah.
so just as a reminder, like you get almost $10 off per course if you do the full package. I encourage the full package just because you'll get something from everybody. But, and we've got the URL. And Ethony, is there anything that for you, any wisdom you want to share with people about the magic of, for you, how tarot and this community has changed your life?
Oh my gosh, I like barely have words sometimes.
Mm.
I only wish that I had jumped online earlier. I really do wish that, because now have friends all over the world. And these are not just people who like buy my stuff and I never connect with. These are people that I've traveled to Seattle to go see, or whenever I'm in town, we catch up and I have real conversations with them face to face, of students, got to meet my mentors. I've been able to fangirl over meeting a lot of people whose books have been on my bookshelf for years. I have become a more confident person. And believe me, I was pretty confident to begin with, not in like in a cocky way, but just being okay with allowing my freak flag to fly. Like, I'm a massive nerd, I'm a dork, like, and I'm okay with that. Like, I'm 100% okay with that. So it's changed my life in a way that it really opened my universe. And maybe it's because, like I said, I came from Australia, which is very isolated geographically, and Perth is extremely isolated, to just realizing how big this world was, and just how amazing these friendships and connections that I've made have been on my life. It's been incredible.
And everybody, Ethony just said something that I think is so valuable to me too, and I want to just echo it, which is that, I always felt isolated and alone. And I think that those of us who really have an empathic side, who really are extreme, as we say, sensitives, right? The British say, oh, sensitives. But that empathic side, I think we need to find each other. And, I want to say to those who are thinking about jumping into this fantastic program, please don't waste another minute. And even if you just have $22, $30, whatever it is, $35 to take one of the courses, pick one, so that you can begin this journey of not being so isolated and being around people who get you. Because, that's the difference, is we get each other. I mean, from the moment we talked, Ethony, and from the first time I met you online, I got you, and I loved that. I think that everyone's going to experience from this community being found and seen. And that is so valuable, especially for those of us. And I have to say, then that makes me a nerd too, because I'm kind of, even though I'm very outspoken and I'm very blue, but I'm also someone who's very private, in the sense that I'm still that little girl that's afraid. And I still have to be with that part of me. And that's where cards and the magic all together.
The internal magic that happens some days when I get not called out, but some days when I see what's going on in my soul, like deep in my soul. Like, I'm getting goosebumps deep in my soul, reflected in the cards. And I just think this is, because that's the visual. Tarot works for me because it's the language. I'm clairvoyant. My biggest clair is clairvoyancy. So of course visual aids are going to be the biggest way my guides work with me. So when I see that reflected in the tarot, or an oracle, or in a message, or in tea leaf reading, because we've got that this year too, in anything
so
like that, I just kind of go, holy crap. Like, it moves me in a way that nothing else has been able to move me, because it allows me to see how I am connected with other people, and that we really are all going through the same stuff, and we really are more similar than we are different. And we do have a community as well. So if you do join, you will get connected with the teachers, with myself, with everyone who's a part of summer school. So you can kind of like tarot geek out, which is kind of fun too.
Yeah. So I'm going to let Ethony have the last word. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ethony. And thank you everyone for joining in, because I think I wanted to do this. I asked Ethony to do it with us because I feel it's so valuable and so important for all of us to recognize that we're not alone. Thank you, Ethony. And I am going to say to all of you, jump onto the link, find out more about it, get on her list, sign up if you can. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. And it will be a summer that you will remember for the rest of your life. Thanks, Ethony.
Thank you so much. And come and we're going to have live calls too, where anyone can jump on, like anybody. So, you know, bring your cup of coffee. I'm a very big believer in hot beverages when it's hot outside, and have some digital s'mores with us. And meet some of the people in the
Digital s'mores. We're gonna hold you to that, and I will see you all probably if on summer school. See you then. Bye.